Hey, what's up guys? So I've recently finished a series of videos talking about dash cams and their abilities or limitations when it comes to recording license plates, and kind of some of the workarounds that we can do to make sure that we can optimize capturing for these. However, we're not police officers, we don't need to capture every single license plate on the road, and in many situations, capturing license plates actually doesn't matter at all. However, there are a couple examples, a couple situations where it really is important and it does make a big difference. And so let's go ahead and talk about when you don't necessarily need to capture license plates and the situation when it really is important. So when it comes to dash cams, one of the main reasons that you would buy one is in case of an accident. So if you do get into an accident, for example, boom, two cars collide on the road, typically what's going to happen is you and the other person, you're going to pull over on the side of the road and you're going to exchange insurance information, you're going to call the police, exchange driver's licenses, all that kind of stuff. And the cops will come to write their report. The information gets sent over to insurance. You may have to go to court if it's really bad or whatever else, if lawyers get involved especially. Hopefully it's not too bad. But the point is, like, you're going to be exchanging all the information, and the dash cam is there, I guess, mostly to prove fault. You know, did the other person run a red light? Did they hit you? Did you hit the brakes? Like, what happened? There can be a lot of he said, she said, and that sometimes is what happens when you go to court. If you have the dash cam footage, it makes it really clear exactly what happened. And something that I've seen and heard many, many times is that somebody gets involved in an accident, and the other person was like, hey man, sorry about that, my bad, you know, but then when they go to police or when they talk to their insurance company, the story changes, and suddenly they're going to be like, no, it wasn't me, it was the other person. They ran the red light, they ran a stop sign, whatever else, and so you're like, that's not what we talked about. That's not what happened. And having a dash cam with the footage makes it crystal clear exactly what happened, so the other person couldn't lie and get away with something, and then you wind up kind of getting in trouble for something that you didn't even do in the first place. So that's really what the dash cam footage is for. It's just to prove that you were not the person at fault. It's that the other person would. Now, that's what's going to happen in the majority of situations. That said, there's also going to be some situations that are a little bit different, namely in case of a hit and run. Let's say you get involved in an accident and the other person, they speed off, they drive off, and you're like, whoa, what the heck, you know? I mean, let's say they were 100% at fault, but they're gone, and you don't have their information, the police can't go after them, there were no witnesses, you were caught up, I mean, you didn't see the license plate, whatever, right? Like, that definitely happens. In that situation, if your insurance doesn't have the ability to go after the other person and their insurance, well, your insurance has to cover it, and you have to pay for your deductible out of pocket. If they have the other person's insurance information and your insurance company can go after their insurance company and they're at fault, you don't have to pay anything. But if your insurance company has to pay for it, even if it's not your fault, you have to pay your deductible. And I actually talked to my insurance company about this earlier this morning. I've got State Farm, and they were saying that, yeah, in case of a hit and run, it's going to be treated as an uninsured motorist, meaning the other person doesn't have insurance at all, and even if they're there, well, your insurance company has to cover it. And so that's how that's going to be treated. And so one of the main benefits here of having the dash cam that can record the license plate in case of a hit and run is now, well, your insurance company knows who that person was. They've got the license plate information, and they're going to be able to actually go out and get that person, especially with the police involved, right? The police can look up the information in a database and figure out the owner of that car. That's going to be one of the main benefits here of being able to record license plates. Now, in a situation like that, in a hit and run, I mean, cars are going to collide, typically it's going to be pretty close, and hopefully, not always, but hopefully you're going to be able to capture the license plate. Now, another situation that's actually pretty similar is a hit and run, but if you're not directly involved, and let's say there was an accident a little bit up the road ahead of you, and you witnessed it, your dash cam recorded it, but the other people in the cars, they didn't have dash cams. This happens a lot too, and so the person with the dash cam will actually pull over and like say, hey, I got the video, I got this whole thing on camera, don't worry, like I'll give you the video, you can send it to your insurance, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully, if the other person ran in that situation, the person at fault and then the one who pulled over that you're talking to, you can give them the footage, and hopefully your dash cam got the license plate in that situation for the same exact reasons, and you're able to help somebody else. In that situation, the cars that ran in the accident, they were farther away from you, so it's tougher for your dash cam to record it. But nevertheless, hopefully your dash cam can record the license plate, because that information is really going to be important for the other person that was involved in the accident and then the person who hit them ran, right? So hit and runs, I think, are the primary use case of where it can be really helpful to record the license plate. But again, in the majority of situations, you don't necessarily need the license plate information. People, in case of the accident, like, you're going to pull over and you're going to exchange all the information anyways, and so it's more just like proving fault. Last one, hit and run if you're parked, right? Let's say the person hits your car and then they speed off, they drive away, and they don't leave a note on your windshield. Well, okay, again, you've got the same information. You've got the license plate info. You can send that over to police when you file the report, and they're going to be able to actually go after the person who owns that car. And so having the license plate is really helpful to identify the driver, the owner of their car, in situations where they're not available to just exchange insurance information. And so that's kind of the primary use case that I think of. Actually, in the comment area, if you guys can think of some additional ones, maybe something that I haven't mentioned, let me know down there. But I kind of wanted to mention this because, well, I've been doing a series of videos talking about dash cams and their abilities and limitations of recording license plates. One common thing that I've heard in the comments sometimes is people are like, "Oh man, it can't capture license plates in every situation. The dash cam is completely useless. What a waste of money." And I'm like, do you not know what these things are for? Do you not know like all the situations where they're helpful and like when you need them and when you don't? And so I find it to be tremendously helpful. No, they're not perfect. They've got limitations just like anything, but I think it just comes down to like understanding your tools, understanding its capabilities and limitations, but also why do you need the thing in the first place and how is it going to help you? In what situations is it going to be tremendously beneficial and in what other situations does it not really matter at all? So I think this kind of stuff can be really helpful just to understand like what these things are for in the first place. And so anyways, with all that said, yeah, just a video talking about the importance of recording license plates when you need it and also situations when you don't necessarily need it. And so if you're looking for a recommendation as far as which dash cam to get, I'll have a link down in the video description to my dash cam buyer's guide that goes over all of my favorite dash cams that you can purchase at different price points and with different feature sets. So yeah, with all that said, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're all doing great. I'll see you in the next video.